Alright, more full body matches. Looking at a match here today between G30 and Niwaka. Winners round 4. Kind of neat stuff from Evo Japan. So still relatively early in the Catherine full body life cycle. Um, yeah, see what happens. Niwaka hasn't really traveled, but he's pretty good. I remember from when I went over there playing against him, and then G30 is a little bit more well known, I guess, at this point. So we'll just go through and see what's up. Uh, that's a fine block throw. I would have followed up with a drop kick maybe first, but I guess the conversion doesn't really give you too much here. Let me see if I can get my little tools. My little All right. Um, yeah, I mean, I would have liked to see a drop kick, right, to send him down. But I guess the conversion doesn't really give you too much, so that's fine. Continuing on with the play, nice butt bump, blah blah blah. Nice kind of solve there, normal stuff. Now this is just kind of like normal quad, right? It's 2P. 2P's doing a good job, right? 2P didn't go on the outside and deal with that. So they're going to go around the outside. This leads to an interesting potential. This block's kind of important, right? Because this area is the one that you want to climb to. So we'll see what happens with this block. I would expect 2P maybe to go over and push it or something. No, okay, that's fine. Ooh, this now got super ugly really quick. What is the best solve for this? I'm actually not entirely too sure. Um, Dang. Yeah, the 3x3 on top of somebody is very strong. 2P does have an item, so I guess realistically maybe the best thing would be slide over, come down, come back up, come up to here, turn around, toss item, and then you can climb up the back way. That's the first thing, I guess. Additionally, you could push this out, which I think will cause this block to fall. Whether or not that will hook onto anything is to be determined. Whether that gets hooked on down here or not, I don't know. It's kind of tough to see. Um, but potentially you could toss this, push this out, right? It gets hunkered onto here. And then you step down, up, turn around, and then toss your item into where this is now, right? Where this is about to fall, and then you can climb up. But they are near the top, so I don't know how many options 2P really has here. Let's see. He does this. Yeah, this doesn't look too good here. There you go. He found the solve on the back end. That's good. Comes up around. I would like to see him go and grab that block there. I definitely did not agree with this push. That push is very. You don't want to push this. You would much rather pull this if you have to. There's the concept, right? Every time that you push something, it typically goes away from you. Meanwhile, pulls, you can usually still interact with it. So I would have said, because the concept, right, is that, I'm going to try to get 1P. When 1P steps down here, I'm going to move this block. But the better option usually is to pull these instead of push. Because now you're in a spot like this, right, where you get kind of tricky. Fortunately, 1P was kind of messing up a little bit, right? I mean, the extra thing that he needed to do was he needed to push this over, right? So this falls, so then that would have given him the way up. He didn't, so that's going to cost him a little bit of time here. Now, this is actually kind of interesting because 2P, technically all this is held up here, right? By this block. So 2P has control over this, and 1P is so close yet so far. I'm trying to think if there's anything that 1P can really do in this situation, right? I mean, he could try to do something where he pulls this, but there's nowhere really for him to continue with that, right? So he has to be a little bit careful. So 2P is actually in complete control here as well, right? Because if he knocks this out and then knocks this out, 1P falls even more. So I'm excited to see what happens with this. Let's see. 2P, okay, 2P gets even the block there, which that's going to be really nice if 1P doesn't come down, right? I mean, there's a item block here, step in, pull this, and then that's the win. So 1P has to cross over now, so 1P has to drop. Maybe if I'm 2P, I would be aware that 1P has to drop as well, so maybe I would just stand on top of here, right, and threaten the drop kick anytime that 1P crosses over. So let's see what actually happens. 1P stands still. That's very unfortunate. He should have spidered around. All right. I mean, that skull was there for a while, so I don't know exactly what that was about. Definitely the move is to spider and then over. Um, yeah, unfortunate, because now you're going to get some skull shenanigans. That's what happens. Gotta be very careful. Oh, and then that's going to be it for 2P. Again, another instance where he pushed, right? He pushed these blocks away. All right, round 2. Jisan took that after barely coming out, because of some skull shenanigans, really, that happened to 2P and some misplays. Here's, that classic interaction on quad where nobody has a clear advantage, so both players just kind of stand around. All right, now 1P is going to be able to take this block. Oh, what is going on with the frame rate there? I don't know, but 1P is getting ahead a little bit here. That's fine. 2P with the nice solve on the outside. That's good. 1P coming up. Okay, he got a nice lucky butt bump there. That's an interesting idea. I don't know if I necessarily agree with here. I'll go to the next frame, set that away. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that all that much, because I think that it is a cute idea, right? Because it's it's a capping move. That's why I always call these things where you put a roof over top of somebody, right? You spawn a block over top of them. So that is kind of nice because 2P doesn't have too much to work with there, but at the same time it does kind of mess with, it actually kind of breaks your paradise, because realistically what 2P could do is they could just push this and then spider around, and then this is going to fall. So 1P could try, I don't know if 1P will, I assume that they're going to feel safe enough from this, where they are not going to pull this as well. If they do, that would be good. That would be really good. The thing about quadrangle, right, is where it's such easy solves is where you have to kind of do some maneuvers to make it where the opponent's moves cost you at least one more action than it takes you to cost, right? That's the only way you're ever going to stay ahead. And so here it looks like the moves to solve are about even, right? I mean, he has to pull, he has to push. So they're about even, as opposed to just the simple, if he would have pulled this block, spidered over, and then pulled this block, right, and just created the paradise. I think that paradise is probably the best option there. It saves you your block as well, which would be nice. So I don't know if necessarily, I think that's a cute idea, but I don't know if it super works out. It will work out. Well, 2P can get up and then toss the block behind him. Yeah, nice 3D solve. But that's going to be it. 1P can get the win there. That's unfortunate for 2P. Shout out to me and Sig, standing in the background. Blah, blah. Let's see what we got next. Cathedral. Okay, big stage. Here you got G30 is doing the idiot push, and 2P is going a little bit slower build route. But it's not too bad, right? The stage is wide enough to where, it about evens out, you see. 1P is putting up a little bit of pressure here, especially with just this one pull, right? Makes this structure for 2P a lot more difficult to climb, because this falls, and 2P, their option is to pull this to try to get up, right? But 1P actually has control then over this critical block. And so typically, in Catherine, it's kind of like a tree, right, where the center of the stage is very thick, and then things spread out in this V shape, right, with these branches, is kind of how I think of it. And so anytime that you can force somebody just to the sides, that's going to be advantageous for you. And so typically the center is fairly strong, and that's why most of the push-outs revolve around pushing out the center of a stage, a la quadrangle. But so now that 1P has pulled this, 2P has to find a new way up, right? This side is not very good for climbing. Meanwhile, left side still has some potential, and that is still there. So I would like to see 1P maybe just do the same here and pull this. I'm not sure if the timing would work out to where by the time he would pull this, 2P could push this, 1P would fall, 2P could drop down, get a drop kick, and then that would be it for 1P. It could be the case. But if 1P was on top of the game, I think optimally pulling both of these would have been a very strong move, and just forcing 2P out to the sides. Then 2P would have had to come down and then push these out to interact with this whole structure. Right, that's the only way that you can stop a player who's above is to attack their base. But then all 1P would have to do is real elegant, right? Is just a simple pull, and then they are up, and then they can escape out. So let's see what actually happens. I have a feeling that all that's going to happen here is 1P is just going to pull this block. Okay, they pushed. I don't know if I agree with the push. Takes you one extra action, but that's fine. Wasted X. That's okay. All right. Now this is interesting, right? Because now that 2P has pushed this block, this side falls, and this side is less good to climb. You are going to have a nice little structure here possible for a stable landing, but height-wise, it's going to fall behind a little bit, especially with all this push-out stuff that's going down. 2P is going to take advantage and convert over to the left side, which is good. You've got 1P. I think I would have saved the block, especially as you're getting near the end. The thing about Cathedral, right, is where it can spawn on 3 sides, left, right, or middle, and so as you get near the end, it's very important to be able to convert and easily transition between each side, especially depending on how things get pushed out below. You might have it would be very difficult to get to another side because it will be lower or something like that. So I think that keeping the item block is very important for creating structure, right? Like 1P would have been able to get out to here. I think what he could have done it is a little bit slower, I guess, but I would have did a double pull here to keep the item block. So those are just some of my thoughts on that. Let me get rid of the screen clutter, blah blah. Let me hit play. So now 1P is really bad kind of here, right? And 2P is they have a really nice stable landing. They're easy to get up. 1P is going to have to try to transition to get over here, right? So he's going to do some pulls, and he's eventually going to try to connect his bridge over to here. So if I'm 2P, maybe I'm trying to keep that in mind. One possibility would be I'm going to push this block right, and then I'm going to pull this block, pull up over, push, right, and then put that where this is. The idea being that, okay, you'll create this nice let me clean it up a little bit. You'll create a nice too high ceiling that blocks out 1P. I think this is a very good potential here for 2P to play some good defense. He does have to be aware of, I guess, if 1P gets an item, that could make the defense a little bit more difficult. But yeah, you see 1P connects over, and then he's going to transition over to this side. 2P does have a block. Didn't he have a way up there? No, he didn't. Alright, gotcha. Oh, but he does get the item there, which this is going to be it. Uh-huh. Nice solve. And then that's about it. Let's see what happens in the next round. Blah, blah. Same openings. That's fine. I think I technically prefer 1P, but it's fine. Alright, trying to continue where I left off on this. Yeah, same openings. I think I slightly prefer 1P's position, which is fine. Blah, blah. 2P. Yep. Now 1P is playing a nice bit of defense over here. 2P doing nice transition work down bottom. I really like that. 1P coming up. I would have preferred 1P to just take the climb up there, but this is kind of interesting because it will force a fight down here. 2P is just he's like eating up all the structure that 1P is trying to make, right? This falls, that becomes a little bit more unstable. 1P is still able to do some stuff here, but actually it might be nice for 2P to possibly come up and take advantage of this. 2P is going to opt for this side, which now the left side is slightly higher than the right side, so 2P is in an advantageous climb. Now, again, this is an interesting situation, right? It's the same thing that happened last game where you have this group of four and 1P is a little bit lower, or just the right side is a little bit lower and they have to cross over. That's the idea. So I would like to see 2P control this by tossing this block on top to create this as a 2 high, right? And then 1P won't be able to climb it. So I think that what is crucial here, right, is control over the center column, control over the area that 1P wants to come over. Especially when you push this, it also gives you more blocks down here to do that, right? This guy comes down here, so then you can pull, and then you have a 2 bridge to push around. So, yeah, I like that. Like that play by 2P. I wouldn't have, I don't think, I like that idea. I don't like this idea, what he does here. I don't like that. I would have liked just pulling the bottom one, right? Leaving the block there and then just pulling that. That does work, but it probably shouldn't work. The other thing was there, maybe it would have been good if he just went into the back and then used the X to get up. Oh no, that's 3 high. Whoops. Um, so that wouldn't have worked. Plus, that is a little bit unsafe from down there. So now 2P is a little bit stuck, right? 1P, whoever gets on top of here, they have drop kick potential in here, and here is instantly death. Here's actually not too bad. Maybe you do just want to drop down, push that out, push this here, and start to threaten 1P to come down. I'm a little bit worried because I guess 1P has some items, right? So if you go down, 1P pushes this over, comes up, tosses item block here, right? And then there's his potential to get up and do stuff. So that might not be super good. If 1P stayed on the left, then 2P would have control down here, right? This whole thing is held up by that block. So, couple different scenarios. Instead, what I feel like we're probably going to see here is a little bit of a fight here, just a little slap fight, which is just going to whittle down some time. 1P probably shouldn't have lost that in reality, but good on 2P for getting it. Now you got that nice tiger's mouth shape, right? So 2P is able to climb inside. He does good recognition that 1P has control over his structure, so he is not safe to climb. So he does some stuff. I think I would have preferred it though, because even with the juice, at least you're safe relatively, because all you need to do is push this out and then use it to get up. I would have liked pulling this to fix the shape a little bit. They're in equal position right now. If 2P pulls, he's in a little bit better because he can use it to get up. Oh, the X actually kind of burns him there a little bit, right? Because he doesn't quite want that. He wants to now. Right, now both players are standing, right? It's kind of interesting position because each one has priority over this, over the square directly in front of them. Probably as 2P, my ace in the hole is to get up, push, push, right, and bring this down, and then you'll be able to use your X to get up there. So that is what I have in mind. 2P does good. Oh, he went a little bit too far, and then he got punished for it by 1P. 1P messes with his shape. Now there's a little bit of slap fight. 2P, yeah. 2P able to get the drop kick. That was good. Niwaka doing a good job. Torture Chamber is the last stage here. That'll be fun. Lots of spikes. Let's see what happens. 1P gets the early wine. 2P gets the early skull. That's just a real unfortunate situation. 2P is going to spend some time kind of burning that a little bit down here. They're back into the game. 1P probably could have did a little bit of a better job defending against 2P. That's okay. 2P crosses over into the middle to start to climb. I don't know. I think I would have just started climbing along the outside. I think that's just as fine. Reason why I guess I wouldn't want to interact, well, maybe it would be okay, is that these guys make this area a little bit safe from the left, right? So he actually can build this shape here, big L, big fat L shape, because 1P will have to burn it a little bit. Yeah, he does lose it a little bit. 1P gets the X, so he has to play a little bit of defense here. 2P just burns his block, and he decides to take this fight to the next level. That's fine. If I'm 1P, I think, because you go and you spider when you use the X, so what you can do there, and if he is spidering on this block, actually, while spidering here, you can do a reversal. So I think that would have been a nice touch to see from 1P, an instant reversal. I guess here that's not super good though because you have the spike blocks, right? So you just have to be careful and aware of that. But that would have been cheeky. Good butt bump by 2P coming up. I would like to see pull there. That's very good. Blah blah. 1P doing his thing. I think here what's kind of important is that with the wine, you kind of want them to burn it as much as possible. So I think I would have did the extra time to pull this, right? That way, this way is kind of blocked a little bit, and then 1P would have had to do something where they push this, and then all you have to do is you just have to go this side, and then you push this whole thing, right? And you just keep them down there. That's my idea. Um, I guess you'll have to be aware of if they get items, but you have a relatively easy way up, and you have a good chance to defend here. So I would have liked to see 2P capitalize on that, but this is fine. He's got the wine. We're relatively near the top, so we're going to see some climbing action. This spot is interesting. I don't agree with this push, right? I don't agree with the push because it makes it easy for 1P to get up, or 1P could have pushed that, right, and did a split on this structure, which would have turn this nice big landing into two shorter ones, so not as good. I think the nice solve here that would have worked out pretty good is a push, and a push gives you, again, you got that nice shape. So this falls down, and then you can 1, 2, 3, get up, up, and away. So that would have been good, I think, and wouldn't have cost a lot. I think what's going to happen here is that these players are going to scramble around because this area is seemingly complicated. I think what might work, right? The here it's a little bit scary, but I think that this gives you a really nice solve now, right? This gives you all the way up to the end, pretty much. Um, so that would have been really good. The other thing, right, will be coming along the left side because the inside's a little bit messy. Um, but there's not a super good way to do the outside, the left outside. You can do something where you push this and then push this to catch, and then you have this 2 landing that falls. But this part doesn't fall, so this is still high, and the 2 landing is a little bit low, right? So you get something that looks like this, and then you have to do a lot of pulls to get this to work. Um, so that's not a super good look. Um, yeah, I'm trying to think what else might work here. You could. I'm trying to think if there is potential to climb inside the tower, right? Maybe you go here, maybe you push this, maybe you push this. This guy falls. You step over. You come up. You push this way, and then you push this block this way, and then you spider around, and then there's your way up. That could work. It also is a little bit safer because you only have to worry about this block directly to drop kick, and then these are spikes, so you do have a little bit of time to prep if 1P tries to interact with your structure. Uh, let's see what else is going on here. Oh, 1P has the wine, so that or 1P has the juice. So 1P is looking to go here and X. 1P is looking to go here and X. So as 2P, actually, your objective right now is you have to stick on top of 1P and not let him get the win. I guess the other thing that would have worked too, just speaking of, would have been push, push, pull, pull. That would work and give you that would keep this structure on this outside the way it is. Actually, I think this would fall, so maybe you would want to push this first, because when you do the pull on this side, there's nothing here anymore, so this guy falls. So that doesn't quite work what I was just speculating on. But anyway, here, yeah, 2P has to stick all around 1P. So let's see what happens. Yeah, if I'm 1P, I don't think I would have challenged. I think I would have taken the time to go to the right side and use the X. Now 1P is going to struggle a little bit here to try to find an opening / fight 1P. Nice job to do the block there because now 1P has to put in a little bit of work to fix that. When 1P gets this wine as well, that's actually pretty good because that gets rid of the X for 2P. 1P decides to not go for the wine. Instead, just keep with the camo, just keep with the invis. I would have liked to see 2P do the drop kick combo follow up. It wouldn't have did too much to drop 1P back because they could just follow up. Maybe 2P could have done something where they, drop kick. Oh, geez, why is this so thick? I do not want this thick. changed thickness on me. Well, that's fine. Let's lower this a little bit. There we go. Alright. I was gonna say, what would have worked kind of nice is drop kick, 1P comes down here, 1P comes up here, 2P takes a time, does a push here, then does another drop kick combo to here, and that would have been ending the game. That could have been a potential for something good, or take the opportunity to finish your climb up here. That might have worked out pretty good too. So just a missed drop kick combo. See 1P messing with the shape a little bit. Now you got this 3 landing on this right, so now this right side looks really good to climb on. 1P does a push there, which means that he completely throws away his chance to cross over here to the right, so 2P is going to take the time to get ahead here. 2P messes up on the turnaround. That's very unfortunate, because 2P had the win, so threw it away. But sheep happens, you know. Let's see what happens here. 2P has to spend a little bit of time dropping these out. This is where, this is another interesting situation where, you have this shape is relatively a lot to climb, right? It takes you 3 pulls to get up, so it does take a little bit of work. Both players are on the same landing, so if one player starts to build the structure, the other player is going to try to take advantage of that. So neither player is going to commit to building. 2P is taking the time to burn some of these traps. That way, he can actually interact with his side. 1P sets up to come over to here to 2P side and set up for possibly some kind of reversal. I don't know if that necessarily would give him too much. I think what maybe you should spend some time doing when you come to here, especially when it comes off this just too high, is that this 2 is very fragile, and so it actually gives you a good bit of time to threaten to push this out. It doesn't really take that much at all. The other thing that might work is where you push your outside, right, and set up, because then your outside block falls, and then you'll have you'll have one push on the entire row, which you could possibly use if they don't defuse the spikes. If they do defuse the spikes, then probably they will take advantage of you being lower to start to build, in which case, because it's such an easy thing, you can come over and cross over to them. You can do some fighting. I think that the move when you come to here is actually take the fight lower. I don't think that, when you come to this shape, I don't think playing on this level gives you too much besides burning some time. That's pretty nice. The push on the outside are pretty good potentials to do some things, especially if you have an item block. It would work pretty good. That's really good from 2P. Sets up a really nice ladder combo that I didn't think about on the outside. I mean, if I was 1P, I don't think I think this is a scary place to be, so I wouldn't have fought there. I wouldn't have suggested that, but that worked pretty good. So good on 2P. Let's see what happens. We again have same shape, so let's see what happens this time. 2P does the same thing. That's fine. He's going to get a nice drop kick there. Oh, what? Okay, 1P was actually able to get the spider out from there. Oh, both players interacting on the same square. That's kind of scary. Let's see what happens here. 2P has really good awareness of some of the crucial areas. Niwaka has pretty good awareness, right? I mean, you saw earlier with the ladder combo on the outside, as well as fighting over the block that 1P was creating, and then he's constantly threatening, right, these drop kick positions. Very nice. Here he forces 1P to get get rid of his outside. Excuse me. And so now 1P either has to cross over and around, or 1P has to pull this. When 1P pulls this, so it gives 2P enough time to pull that. Similarly, it takes 1P so long to get around that 2P can now take the fight even higher. And this 3 high is relatively safe, so it would take a little bit of time for that to be pushed out. So if I'm Niwaka, I'm thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to pull up, I'm going to pull this, I'm going to pull this. I'm going to just keep making this landing here bigger and bigger to make it harder and harder for 1P to come up. 2P has his wine glass, but he can't really take too much advantage of it right now. Nice job by 2P. Yep, I agree with everything so far. I did not agree with that, though. I think that what would have worked is just pulling this out. Works just the same. I think he was getting a little bit antsy and trying to go for a drop kick maybe. We got, yep, uh-huh. Now 1P is able to steal the lead a little bit here. I like that by 1P. Typically I think the faster solve is I think it's the Inazuma, right, where you pull, and then you pull the bottom block, right? It only requires you to interact with the two blocks. You turn this shape into because the diagonals into an L shape. But actually, I think what works better on Torture is, and in multiplayer in general, is when you can create this shape, because since these are solid, it makes it much more difficult for 2P to get up. Um, Here, actually, 2P does have a very elegant solve in the fact of, push, push, and then these guys come down. So that would work out pretty good for 2P. The only downside of using that shape in general is that if climbing from the outside is relatively easy to defend against, and so 1P's solution is to pull this block over twice, right? Or I guess 3 times, and block off this, right? Because then 2P has to commit a lot more to come up. So let's see where this gets us. 2P opts to climb the left side. It's going to be a little bit slower. 1P here, he's got the wind, so he's able to avoid the skull. I'm trying to think from 2P's perspective. There's not much really that you can do. I think at this point, actually, what I might do is I might push this and cross over here, because your area on the outside here is getting kind of low, and I know 1P is probably going to pull this, so this is kind of getting a little bit scary. I think I would prefer over here just because it gives you a little bit more room to work with in order to climb. But again, you guys are getting near the end of the stage now, so there's not too much time for any more mistakes. Ooh, I mean, that was a good opportunity for 1P to set up there, right? And he would have had a drop kick combo. Wouldn't have been able to convert too much, I don't think, off of it. But when you have wine popped and your opponent does not, you can afford to kind of go in and go off. It is kind of scary, though, because coming in from the top, I mean, you can still lose by having a block pushed out from under you. So that is something to be aware of. 1P does a good job. Now this is falling. If I'm 2P, I think I would go here and I would try to push this out, right, and then cross over here. I would maybe even just set up to threaten to push out the whole stage, because it's really not held up by too much here. I mean, push, push, right? This guy falls, you push, you push. You can push this over, and then you can push these, and all of this will start to fall. So I think it's actually in a relatively decent position for 2P. So let's see what actually happens here. 2P just gives up, which is fine. There's probably not enough time to do a push out at this point. So it's probably not a good idea. When you do the pulls, oh, I didn't know you had enough time to do that in full body. Normally you do not, but that works out pretty good. And that's the game. That's very unfortunate for Niwaka, because I think he had it. He had it at one point, and then Jisan clutched it out with a nice comeback at the end for sure. Anyway, um, yeah, very pleased overall with that set. I think it was a good match. I was very impressed with a lot of Nuwaka's awareness, especially some of the play on Cathedral. Um, I think that I don't know if it was nerves or what, but he made a lot of crucial mistakes at crucial times, which cost him at least two rounds. He on quadrangle and on torture, so that's not good, you know. But I think that G30, he plays a lot more consistently. I think sometimes he makes some decisions that are maybe suboptimal, but I think that he doesn't make as many mistakes, and so that's pretty cool. He does a pretty good job. So.